What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Millionaire in the Making podcast. My name is Gage.
I'm Justin.
And we have a very special guest here for you guys today. But before we get into the guest, I have to ask you guys to like this video to help us out with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, that's about all I got from you guys. So without any further ado, I'm going to kick it to Justin to introduce today's guest.
I'm going to take it a step further, too. You guys are doing great sharing this. Keep sharing this. That's all I ask for. He asked for the like. I asked for the share. Share this to somebody who you think needs it. Today, we have a very special guest. We have Daniel today.
What's up, everybody? I'm Daniel Cox.
Okay, give us a quick 3-minute summary on who you are and how you got here.
Grew up in California till I was 16. I lived in South Central Los Angeles, which is called Watts. I lived in Compton, Carson, and Long Beach. Moved to Louisiana, Opelousas, near Lafayette, Louisiana, and when I was 16, went to school there, and then went to Pensacola Christian College.
Tell us about Compton. As it was like, were you like in the heart of it back in the day?
I was not a gang member. I was able to get out before that, but was able to get away from that. But I remember writing a paper in 8th grade. You know, we all had those papers where the teacher would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And I wrote, "I want to be a pimp."
Did that work out for you?
I am a pimp.
There you go. That's what I like to hear. So tell us about your business background. What do you currently do right now? What is, if I had to ask Daniel, what do you do? Because that's a very hard question for us to answer on this podcast usually.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to thank my Lord and Savior, because he told me that I could be successful if I give him all the glory. I want to thank my aunt and uncle who adopted me when I was 10 years old from the streets of L.A. or Compton. I want to thank my partner, Marty, for being there. We've been together 7 years, and we've done a lot in the last 7 years. What I do is not as important as what I am. One of the things I learned was it's not about what you do, it's who you are. And you let your being dictate your doing. And a lot of people are chasing the do, and they should be concentrating on being the best person. And then out of that flows your doing. So people have it reversed.
Okay. That's deep. So how did you get to pretty much, how did they pick Pensacola out of everywhere? So if you went from...
So we moved to my aunt and uncle, who I call my parents. My biological mother had me when I was 16, gave birth to me when I was 16. And from there, she had 3 more children. She got hooked on heroin. And so we were put in foster home. And eventually the 4 of us went to 3 different places. And I chose my aunt and uncle on my father's side. My father was out doing his thing. And why I chose them, and I know I'm taking the long route, but I'll wrap it up, I'll end it, is they would pass my apartment on Long Beach Boulevard on the way to church on Sundays and Wednesdays and on the way back. And there would be times, I didn't call them, they would just stop in with food and drop food off.
Very loving.
Yes. They would just drop food off out of the blue, bring some money, and my mother would have to clear the table because they were smoking stuff around the table, and they'd knock on the door. Oh, the church people are coming. And they would just pull up. And so when the system asked, "Where do you want to go?" I said, "I want to go with them. Their house smells good. They live in a nice neighborhood. That's where I want to go." So they already had 5 children already. And my uncle was like, "Look, it's my nephew, okay, but it's up to my wife to decide whether or not she would let me come in." And when I would go over there, I always cause problem. I would steal their clothes and their shoes and stuff, and just cause a problem. And she said, "Sure." And so I give the glory and honor to my deceased mother. Both my mothers are passed, and without her taking me in and my uncle raising me, there would be no me.
That's deep.
Yeah, that is
Appreciate
deep.
you sharing that background.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we reverse this one? Because it sounds like you say it's not what you do, it's who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we flip this podcast over and do something that we've never done? Why don't we talk about who you are and why you were driven, what you were driven by, and then we'll kind of work our way into what you do.
And I think that's why when I was doing some meditation about this was everybody's about, go do this, get this, do this system. And systems work, but the person has to be ready to receive. They have to have their foundation ready to receive the blessing that's already there. They have to be the right person because everything is limitless out there for you. So it's out there, but if you're a crappy person and you get the good things in your life, you can be crappier. So laying the foundation for being the best person you can be makes the journey much more better.
That's deep stuff. So let's flash back to young you. What did you want to do when you were younger? Like, what was your dreams? What were your goals? What did you want to achieve? You wanted to be a pimp?
And the reason why I wanted to be a pimp is because down Long Beach Boulevard, the prostitutes hung out. And I just thought they're the ones that got all the money. So I was starting to get that degenerate that was, but there are things you can learn from them though, and I studied them as well, because we're all pimping something. You're either pimping love, joy, peace, patience, or just pimping whatever. You're all pimps.
I like that.
We're all salesmen. If two or more people are together, we're selling something, right? So we're all salesmen. We're all pimps. We're all entrepreneurs. We're just working for somebody else, I guess. But that was pretty much what I thought. I didn't see a future. I remember one time, in California, marijuana grew everywhere. Fruits grow everywhere, vegetables grow everywhere, and I saw some marijuana on the side. I just grabbed it, rolled it up in some newspaper, put it in my back pocket, and rode my bike and gave it to my mother. And she baked it in the oven and they smoked it. I just saw it. I was like, I'm gonna take this to my mother. So my programming was already starting to change already as a young kid. So, but I think I saw 3 friends get hit by cars. I saw a pregnant friend. I'll tell you a quick story. I lived across the street. Back then, you can go to the grocery store, liquor store, and get your parents cigarettes, and for like 75 cents. So I could go across the street, give the guy money, and get my mother cigarettes, and they wouldn't ID. I get her beer and cigarettes like $1.30. One time, a friend of ours got hit by a car. She was pregnant, crossing the street. I dropped my bike that I just I got a Blue Beach Cruiser, because I was living in Crip territory, so I got a Blue Beach Cruiser. I dropped it to go check on her as she got hit by the car. I come back, my bike's gone. So I told my mother, and my mother said, I don't care what you have to do, but you're not coming in this house until you find your bike. I'm like 8 years old. So I I look around, I see one of the Crips. I say, Yoke, my bike is gone. He said, oh, that was your bike. Oh, sorry, I'll go get it for you. And he brought it back to me, because my mother was crazy. She was not gonna let me in the house. And he brought the bike back. So there's a lesson about respect there. But another one I'll tell you quickly. I was getting ready to fight this 12-year-old, and she walked by with her 2 good friends to go to the liquor store, and she just walked right past me, act like she didn't see me fighting the guy, because my mother was very protective and would throw hands with anybody, because she was crazy like that. And she walked right by me and was going to let me fight the guy by myself. Years later, when I asked her, a couple of years later, I asked her why. She says, I want to teach you how to be a grown man. Mm. So the lesson I learned also was that you can't always depend upon people to fight your own battles. You got to stand in that arena and fight your own battles, or negotiate. But that was a coming of age for me. It's like, oh, my mom's not going to have my back every time just because I want to get in trouble. So that was one. And then when I was 9 years old, all my friends were getting new shoes, and my mother didn't have the money because she was on welfare. They were getting new Converse. So my mother picked me up some Tom McCanns. They were like a knockoff of the Converse, and I didn't want them. So my buddy and I decided to take the bus about 20 miles away and go to the Long Beach Mall, and we were going to steal some Converse. So I got the Converse, I'm putting them on. I'm about 100 feet from the door, and the security guard caught me and him and took us in. Put us in the back room, interrogated us, said, okay, guys, I'm going to call your parents, give me the numbers, and they're going to come pick you up. But I gave them the wrong number. I gave them the right number and the wrong name. So my mother when they knocked on the door, they're like, we don't know who that is. So they hauled him off to jail, and I'm crying like a little girl. I'm in some solitary confinement with a hole in the floor. And finally they figured it out. Around 1 o'clock in the morning, they came and got me. My mother and her ex-husband came and picked me up. He didn't get mad at me. He didn't scream at me. And that time my mother did not whoop me. But I went to jail for stealing shoes at 9 years old. So I was setting the course to be a criminal. So
That's awesome. I really respect that you took more out of your life experiences, because I believe a lot of people are just living life and they experience all this stuff. We all live childhoods, we all lived, and we don't actually think about it and consciously realize, okay, there's a lesson to be learned from this, this, and this. Do you believe that how do I put this? It sounds like you were a product of where you were at that time. Like the environment that you were in, it sounds like you were a product of that. When did you, all in all, escape that environment and escape that just persona that you were being in that spot?
Well, anyone that comes from the inner city, I think people don't understand how hard it is to get out of there. When you live in paradise or middle class America, it is tough. I mean, I went, and I'll tell another story in a second. I had an epiphany the other day when my aunt and uncle adopted me, and they took me to middle class. I was like the Fresh Prince. I had got my own bedroom and own clothes, and we'd go days without food. My mother was so hooked that she would go for 4 or 5 days and leave us home, and I'd take care of my 3 siblings myself. If I was 8, 6, 4, and 2, I'd have to hand wash the clothes by hand. She'd give me $1.20. I would use 20 cents to put them in the dryer at the laundromat, and another $1 in salami. So I don't eat salami to this day. And I'd have to put it on white bread. And sometimes I'd have government cheese or government peanut butter. But I was going to tell you, there was a story I was going to tell you. What was your question again?
So you sounded like you were a product of your environment.
Yes.
At what point did you escape?
So when I got adopted, and I say adopted, the state gave me to them. That's when I moved out of that. But I used all those lessons. My siblings had to get out of there. They've had a journey to get out of there. So what I am now, and it's taken me a longer process to get there, and I thank God. Some of that has been my own arrogance, why it's taken so long. But I remember when I used to do some songwriting and producing, and my friend who mentored me said, "Daniel, I don't want you to get a hit song right away." And I thought he was just a hater. And he said, "Here's why. Because what if you never understand how to do it, the process, the formula to do it?" And I remember that. So everything that I do now, everything we do now, we have a why and we have a system. We're building systems. Everything has a system. I think everybody wants to get rich so fast without a system, without a why, without working on their inner self. We all want to get rich. We all want that money. We all want that notoriety, but we got to be ready to receive it. We got to have the foundation there. So that's really what I wanted to bring and talk to you guys today.
That's awesome. So you say you have to have a why, and I think that's one thing that a lot of younger people in our audience is younger to preface don't understand. They just want to get rich. They just want to get rich quick, and they don't have that why. Do you mind giving some insight into what your why is? Why do you do what you do every day?
So that's so why can be when you're making a policy at your company, why are you making that rule? Why are you doing it? When we decided to do real estate, we knew exactly what neighborhood we're going to target. We're going to do one house, one street, one neighborhood, one city. That's why we wanted to do development. So that's initially. So that was our why. We also wanted to have a way to give back. We also wanted to build from the inside out. So we started taking real estate classes, investment classes in Nashville, and learned a lot. Real estate investment in Nashville is probably one of the best places to learn how to do real estate because they have so many mentors and people there doing the things that you're helping you. But we decided, you know what, we don't have enough money to do Nashville. So we're going to pick the next Amazon. We know Amazon's Amazon, so it takes no intelligence to put money in Amazon, right? What's the next Amazon in real estate? So we thought it was going to be Birmingham, so we did some investing there, and we end up in Gulf Shores, and I can tell that story at a later date. But we believe Gulf Shores in Foley is the next Amazon.
Well, I know a guy who believes the same thing.
I might have a little bit of real estate in Foley and Gulf Shores
Just
and
a
Orange
little bit.
Beach. Just a little bit. I believe in the product. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
So why do you think, here's a good question, why do you think Foley and Gulf Shores is going to be the next big place? Well, it already kind of is. But
The bones of Foley. You go through a lot of beach towns. Some of them have a traditional downtown. Some of them have nothing but palm trees, pines, red clay, and then you get to the sand, and you got beach. And it's much more, it's just the beach, that's it. What Foley brings to the table is infrastructure. It has a traditional downtown. It's got land, it's got farmland, it's got waterways, and it's the gateway to the beach. And it's only 18 miles from the beach. I mean, most people live an hour from the beach, 30 minutes from the beach, and they live in, everything has to flow through Foley. And I think Foley's been undercapitalized, underutilized, and it's going to be a problem. We're going to make it, having lived in, Nashville for 20 years, Marty lived there for 25 years. We like to travel. We go to big cities. We think we have the opportunity to make Foley, put it on the map. So it's right next to the beach.
100%. I mean, I believe everything you say is true. So let me ask this, because I know Justin knows, but I don't know. What do you have in Foley? What do you own? What do you operate there?
We own a bar that Justin is our landlord, and I don't like to use the word landlord. We're partners.
Partner.
Yes, we're partners. We're on the same page. We're trying to make the place, put it on the map. We want to have a little place where people you guys' age can come out and hang out and feel like it's a cool place. And they don't have to go to Fairhope. They don't have to go to Mobile. They don't have to go to Pensacola. We don't have to ride to Biloxi or New Orleans. We want to make it, or Orange Beach. We want Orange Beach coming to us. We want Gulf Shores coming to us. We want Fairhope, Magnolia Springs, and Daphne to come hang out and party with us, put roots down here, and build something special here.
That's awesome. So what are you doing to do that
So we have a
differently?
bar right now, and we're going to expand that entire shopping center. We have plans being done by the architect right now. We then, 4 doors down from there, purchased an iconic 100-year-old building called the Foley Coffee Shop. It's been there since 1964. The building's 104 years old. We bought the business and the building, and we're going to be expanding that building, doing some things in there, adding a pizza kitchen and a patio in the back, so we can do brunch and do some fun stuff there. We already have some curated events we're already working on. And then we're buying a house 4 doors down from there to have as an Airbnb and a central spot for us to stay and have it pay for itself, and put a nice spot there. Literally everything's within 10 seconds of itself. And that's how we like to do. Even the houses we bought in Gulf Shores, we built and developed, they're within 2 minutes of our house. Our taco place we're going to put at West Beach is going to be 25 seconds from our house. So one house will be 25 seconds, the other house will be 10 seconds away. So in all of our business, we just walk down an alley and we just, help each other and stuff like that. So it's to keep everything central. We're working on some other things as well.
That's pretty cool. It sounds like you like the food and beverage industry.
Yes, I like to connect with people, and no better way than connect with a person through their stomach.
That's the truth.
So connection, and when we train people to connect. We don't teach them to serve drinks first and foremost. We teach them to connect, ask questions, connect, learn about the story of that person. Because a Budweiser's a Budweiser, a Miller Lite's a Miller Lite. What makes you different from everybody else is how you connect with people.
I like that. I think a lot of people don't touch on that. If you treat the customer like a friend, they'll be with you for life. So, a lot of bartenders, they're there just to get a tip, at the end of the day. But I noticed whenever I was in your bar, one, your son was absolutely just he was hospitable. He was polite. Every single person there wanted to talk to me.
Didn't even know who you were.
Yeah, not at first.
Exactly.
Whenever I would go into, and you've probably seen this at my other restaurant, one person there might know I actually own the place. I don't let the staff know usually unless it's like a problem or something. Majority of his people didn't even know who I was when I walked in there, which is it's a good way to operate.
So we own Scuttlebutt Pub in Foley. Justin has that building, and it's going to be fun what we're going to do. But like I said, we've grown to enjoy the government officials in Foley. They are on our team. They want to see the place grow. They have a 30-year plan they're working on. We're in sync with Darylyn, who is the economic development leader. We're going to do it. It's going to happen. You guys are going to see it happen. We're going to bring a little bit of Miami here, bring a little Atlanta here, the good parts, some Nashville here, the good parts. Bring some Fairhope here. Bring some of that vibe from the beach here. It's going to happen. So we're working on some things. But to go a little bit further, at Scuttlebutt Pub, for example, one of the things we do differently is we don't emphasize money to the bartenders. We average over 33% in tips but the goal is if you're chasing money, you're never going to get it. The goal for them is to connect, love on the guest, connection. The drinks, the beverages, the food is third or fourth. Greeting them, smiling, connecting, talking to them, making sure they're meeting the other people at the bar is what's going to make them feel special. Put beverage napkins, replacing them, wiping down. That's what makes us different. And then the money, they'll look up at the end of the night and go, oh my God, this person just gave me an extra $100. So even at the restaurant we bought, we've had twice our servers leave out with over $500-600 because they just connect and love people, and so that's when you talk about why we don't buy businesses to get rich. We buy them because we see a need. We want to help people. We also want to give people jobs, and we have the goals of our employees, our players, or whatever, our coaches. We know what they want to make. We know what their goals are. We know what they want to buy. We know where they live. 2 of our employees have got cars already. They just got cars, and they need them. And we have others that are needing cars. And so we figure out ways through energy, effort, helping them, provide platforms for them to change their lives. We want to make sure that we're thinking about, at our companies, being an employee-owned company. Right now, Marty and I are the only investors, and we're thinking about giving that equity and profit sharing back to our employees. We call them RODs, our ride or dies. Why make rich people richer when we can change the lives of our people? So that's what we also want to train, help them get skills that they can have for the rest of their lives. So we do things differently. We look at even our business model. Our hospitality company is we look at the hospitality industry differently. We're not trying to change it. We're trying to redefine it. And we go people over profit. And so we'll take a loss to get an L. We'll take a loss to get a W down the road because it's a long-term game. Yes, we need to stay profitable because profit is not a dirty word. We have the cleanest bathrooms. We try to have our hygiene. We're very big on those things, and we train hard. We have a process on how we train and how we hire people. So we're working. It's a work in progress, but it's a very young company. But I actually was in the car business for 16 years. I did finance for I think it was 17. I did finance for 14 years. So I have a finance background, sales background. I did some songwriting. I did some producing. Marty did insurance, has an insurance background. So, but we spent $500,000 or more just eating and drinking over our lifetime. So we think we have expertise in eating and drinking because we sit at bars a lot. So we did not set out to do bars and restaurants, but we saw a need. We see at night there's no place to eat in Foley. There's no good place to eat in Gulf Shores. And so we're working on some things. We are going to open a taco place on the beach. And we've had that opportunity for 2 years, a year and a half, and we have not opened it. People go, why you haven't opened it? And that's what I tell people. Like I just said, I said, people are trying to get rich quick. We know what that place is going to make. I've already done the projections. So why open it just to make money, to say you made money when you don't have your process in place? You don't have your why in place. We wanted to get a central kitchen. So we wanted to get a spot where we can, and the way we're going to build it, I'm not going to tell our secret sauce on how we're going to build our restaurants out, but we have a certain way, a certain technology to minimize how much labor we need. So I've been working on that since COVID, and that's where I'm looking at how to do things. You look at it somewhat the way someone building a house. When we built a house, we built 2 on the beach. I studied boats, RVs, to learn how to maximize space. And then I figure out, okay, who's going to be staying here? What creature comforts do they need? And also study hotels. Study hotels because hotels been doing it for several hundred years, and they know how to build. Marriott, Hilton, they have a way that they do it. So when we built these Airbnbs, we looked at it: hotels, RVs, and boats, and like catamarans. How do they maximize their space? How do they do their shelving? What are people going to break when they come in? So when we built our houses, that's what we did.
I did the same thing. I modeled this house actually after like a hotel. Like if you go in any of the bathrooms, LED mirrors, you pull out the drawers, there's toothpaste, toothbrush, little deodorants, makeup wipes, everything. That's how I run my Airbnbs. Everything is based like a hotel.
But I try to eliminate doors on shelves and stuff because most hotels, it's open.
Yes.
Because they're not staying all the time. And there's less things for them to break, people to mark, kids to drop, put marker and stuff on. So USBs everywhere. Even when we were building our houses, I made sure the electrical sockets were where they needed to be. Because if you put your bed right where the electrical sockets are, can you use them? No. That's another thing. Also, you can also buy lamps that have the USBs in them now. And that eliminates a lot of things. And so we started, and even our own houses, we use lamps that have USBs in them.
I've got 2 in my bedroom. Yeah.
Charging port on top, USB. That way, if you have a spot. But anyway, even when we built bunks, I put the electrical sockets on each bunk, little nooks in there so they can put their phone, their laptop, their keys on the bunk. So little things like that you learn to make things easier. So when you go to sell it, people will give you all the money because those little details, they cannot quantify the little details.
How many Airbnbs have you had in the past?
We had 2. We had an 8-bedroom, 7-bath duplex that we built. We didn't know how to build, and that could be another podcast. And then we built another one right down around the corner that we built, 3-bedroom, 2.5-bath. That was across the street from the beach. We sold that one for a lot of, we did pretty good on both of those. But we had no problems. People told us, oh, you only can make, let's just say $85,000 on this rental. And I'd already had studies and paperwork from several different sources. Plus, I watched the market. We doubled that. We self-managed it, doubled it. Built another one that we were on HGTV for that one, Beachfront Bargain Renovations. They videotaped us on that, and that thing airs all the time. And I ended up putting a bathroom where the air conditioning closet was, shortening up some space to get an extra half bath out. Because I don't like when people are in Airbnbs, they don't have enough bathrooms. I hate not having bathrooms. So half bath, I was told we couldn't do it. I figured out how to do it. Half bath, full bath, another full bath. So added onto the patio, put a pool, put a private deck, grotto down there so you can't see into the pool area, little swings in there, sand, palm trees around, and sold it. But we can talk about that, why we sold it, because we shouldn't have sold it.
Why did you self-manage instead of going with a rental company?
You lose
45%. Usually it's 20, 30.
Let me tell you why.
I know why it's 40%, but let's tell the viewers why.
Because it might be more than that actually. They're going to rent it out for about 20% less than what you can do it for.
Ding, 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 correct.
Number 2, management fees. We can write that off in our taxes. And also we do a better job. If I'm there cleaning out the pool or there, I can prevent, we didn't have any issues. The only thing we had was one door came off the hinge because the wind caught it. Other than that, no issues at Airbnbs because we pre-screened. They knew we were around the corner. They knew if anything messed up, we would be there in 10 seconds. So we can get max money. And if they wanted, hey, I'll give you champagne. I'll have it ready for you. We'll actually do guacamole and salsa for you. Have some margaritas there for you. We wanted to make the experience more special anyway. So we doubled the rate. And that's when we sold it. And then the new owner, when we sold it, made another $30,000. So that house would have made about $195,000. Did make $195,000 one year when we were told it'd only do $85,000.
And that was the 8-bedroom?
Yeah, 7-bath. And it was a duplex. And that's another thing. We bought a duplex, tore it down, built it as a duplex. And here's what my thinking was. In the slow months, you have one side being used. Number 2, when you double the kitchens, you might have multiple families living there, and they may not want to live together. So they can go use one side of the kitchen, other side use the other side. You have older parents, put them on one side. That way they don't have the other younger children aren't bothering them. So it made us a lot more money doing it that way.
So that's something a lot of people don't touch on. I self-manage all of my properties. I'm at like 34, 35, and I self-manage all of them. If I were to hand that over to a property manager, like you said, I'm going to book mine at the highest market value.
Yes.
They are going to book theirs to get rented. And then they're going to take their 20, 30%.
They want cash flow. They want their cash flow.
Yes. So they're not going to usually push your properties for highest market value.
They won't.
Because it just doesn't make as much sense to them.
I thought we self-managed, gave it over to a company, then fired them because we saw what they were doing. And so we said, no, we're done. Because they were doing half the rate. And the main thing is have your handyman or women and your housekeepers. Those are the most important people on when you're doing them. You have those, you don't need anybody. It's the same reason. One of the reasons why we got into construction, I started hearing the contractors go, "My guy, I'll get my guy to come help you." And so we started collecting names, going by job sites. We probably have a zillion AC guys, plumbers, electricals, HVAC, handyman, you name it, we have them. Because they come and go. They're also busy. So you have to collect those people so you have them so they can't hold you hostage. So when the hurricane came, so we had 3 properties during the hurricane. So we moved down to Gulf Shores and we had 3 properties. We got them all done. 1 month later, COVID hit. And after that, hurricane hit. We had to redo all 3 of our properties ourselves. And remember, I didn't know how to build. I'm not a contractor. And we had to fire we had some business partners at the time that were general contractors, and I fought with them because they were trying to take shortcuts. Fired them. Marty and I finished everything ourselves. Families laughing at us, thinking we're crazy. People thinking, our friends are thinking we're crazy. Y'all don't know what you're doing. Stay in your lane. Walk, crawl before you walk. No, I want to fly. Don't limit me. Don't limit her. And so that's one of the things we've been fighting is, and as your people understand that on your podcast, is don't let anybody tell you that you're too young or you're not qualified. You're qualified to do what, you fail fast. Just fail fast. You fail and figure it out and relaunch. It's not a big deal. So getting it perfect is not the goal. It's not the goal. It's just getting out there doing it. Look, we're in the information age. I can YouTube almost anything. I have a Pinterest page. I can get ideas. I have ideas I kept for 3 or 4 years that I'm now using. You get inspiration, and they'll show you how to do it. And then you hire, if things take too long, you get people to help you with the things that you can't do. But decorating and making things pretty and the colors and where you put plugs and the trim, you can learn all that. Now, do I know how to put a piling in? No. But I can make it pretty and make it solid, make it make money.
You can find somebody to put that piling in.
Yes. And watch them do it and learn. I'll stand there and watch them. Whenever I hire a handyman, I watch and help them. So I can learn how to do it. I'm paying them to fix it and to me to learn how to do it. I'm still going to learn a lot from watching them.
Yeah, we have similar views on that. We operate our businesses very, very similarly. I've noticed that. I've brought on a team of people that are way better than me at social media, videography, editing, and I've just been over their shoulders saying, how do you do this? Why do you do this? How do I get good at this? Not to recreate it and just do it by myself. It's I need to be able to replicate that 100 times over.
Yes. So when you and I were having lunch the other day, and look, Justin, a lot of people don't understand him. He's weird.
100%.
But 98% of entrepreneurs, the great ones, the Steve Jobs, they're all introverts. I don't like being around people all the time. I'm an introvert, but I'll turn loose at any second. But 98% of the most successful entrepreneurs are introverts. So we're quirky, we're weird, we have our quirks. But you lead in your strengths and you hire in your weaknesses. And when he and I were talking the other day, and I was getting emotional because I like to keep things very quiet and keep my head down, eyes open, and get stuff done. And I don't really like talking to other people about what's going on because they bug you about it, and then it comes back and haunts you, or they steal your ideas. But you still have to exhaust and get things off your chest in order to make it better. So you have to walk that line. So he was like, hey, you need to get on the podcast. I said, I don't know, but I said, you know what? It hit me. I was getting emotional. I'm like, it hit me. I said, I pray to the Lord that he gives me the strength of 2,000 men. I said, maybe maybe my prayer's already been answered. Maybe social media is the answer to that prayer, because I was thinking just on the physical realm, because I'm a very go-getter. I can get a lot done. But getting the message out there, getting the name of our businesses out there, getting our why out there could be done and replicated a lot quicker through social media. So maybe the answer to the prayer is the social media. And that's when I told him, I said, okay, I'll come on your podcast.
Heck yeah. I mean, you never know who's on the other side of that screen who took something from what you said and ran with it, and it changed their life forever.
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
So one of the things you guys are talking about with the Millionaire, and Marty watches this more than I do, because she likes Justin too. And
so is Marty your wife or doing
a partner, girlfriend, partner?
Okay.
Yeah, so we do everything together, 50-50, like, you know. And she has her role, I have my role.
Has it always been that way? Always 50-50 with her?
Yeah, always. I don't believe, you know, with us it's 50, like 51-49. What does that mean? What is mine is hers, what is hers is hers. That's how I see things. So I've been given the ability by God to, if I lose it all, I can make it again, because I have a process and a why. So I don't worry about losing, oh my God, you know, whatever. I've been blessed, and as I get older, I'm walking in that giftedness. I had to, you know, get bumped on the head several times but I wasn't ready in my 30s, and that's okay. It's everybody's age. I saw something the other day that really shocked me. Was Warren Buffett, 98% of his wealth was gained after the age of 50.
Can we stay here? I feel like a lot of younger people see it's social media is the reason why, but they all see everybody.
In crypto.
Yeah, crypto, social media, stocks, whatever it may be. They all see all these multi-millionaires at 20 years old. Like, that's not the average.
That's not normal.
That is not the average at all. Listen to what he just said.
98% of his wealth. He was a millionaire in his 20s, 30s, because he's been. But to get that other money, that crazy money, that generational money, it was later in life. And I'm 49. Starting to get, everything's lining up, because I'm learning the game, the algorithm of what it takes to do it. And we're in a small town and people talk, so you have to be careful. But at the end of the day, everything we do is to help people. I don't look at how much money can I make, what's my net worth going to be if I do this deal. It's about how can I help people, how can I change lives, and how can I leave things to my children. So money doesn't motivate me in the sense of that. It means how can I be a game changer, world changer? That's what motivates me.
That's nice. So you believe money's going to come if you give back.
It's already there.
So
let me. This is a story I was going to tell you. I forgot. When my aunt and uncle adopted me, they said, "Damn!" And we'd sit around the table and we would laugh. We laughed a lot. They were like, "Remember that time I came over and brought you those groceries and you didn't have any food? Remember that time?" It was multiple times. I was like, "I never missed a meal. I don't know what you're talking about. I had food." And they would just bust out laughing. And then I told Marty this story the other day, and it hit me. I said, I was always wealthy mentally when I didn't have anything. So my mindset is, why are you laughing? I was full. I had food. But it was in a different kind of food. It was a different kind of currency. So I've always been wealthy before the money was there, because I have the mindset that it's there. I've been blessed by God. I'm chosen to do this. So the money is just endless zeros that are going through your account. And it's a matter of how you manage it and what you do with it. And so the money's there.
Build yourself up to become a millionaire mentally. That way you get to keep the money when you make it.
Yes. And so that's what we're learning now, is how do we make money work harder than us? I don't study millionaires anymore. I study billionaires, because they have secrets. There are secrets in the tax rules, that are laws that are written to make and maintain wealth for the wealthy, those who know.
So you said study. Would you say you're like always learning, always trying to pick up something new?
Every day. A couple hours every day.
I think that's something that a lot of people don't grasp. I think a lot of the younger people just watch this, it goes in one ear, out the other. No one really grasps it and like digests it and utilizes it the next day. Like I guarantee you, out of the 100 views we get on this podcast, I'm using that as a number. 98 of them, okay, bye, whatever. Went right out the other ear. 2 may actually take action on what they learned.
So the goal is, the bullet points. Everybody wants the preacher to give them all the bullet points to get closer to God. And then we wrap up church. We take the notes we had that were in the bulletin, we put it in our Bible, and we forget it. So let's not do bullet points. What we need to concentrate on is the being and the why. And we're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. But the being the person, the best person you need to be, it will come. And then you walk in your why, you're gonna use a lot less energy. I call it that fake niceness. You know that person, you're at the restaurant and they're being fake nice? They're using a lot of energy to be nice. Yes, but but when you love it, you love what you do, and you wouldn't want to do anything else, you just did 12 hours and you feel like you did 2 because you love it. It's who you are. It's what you're born to be. It's about utilizing less energy. It's the 4th quarter, guys, and we're not even tired. Let's roll. Let's ball. So that's what it's about. Doing what you love to do, not doing that's why people are freaking getting sick at work, because they hate their job.
The man who loves walking will always walk further.
So do what you love. And if you can't do what you love and get paid for it, do it on a side hustle. When I was in corporate America, I always had a side hustle. Always. That's what kept me motivated to that job. And I would be angry that I decided one day, why are you at work? Why are you coming to work? And I came up with 3 reasons. Have fun, take care of customers, and to make money. When I learned to do that, the money came. And even in corporate America, I just came. If I was having fun. I'm gonna smile and have fun and joke. And I'm gonna take care of the customer, make sure that I'm being fair to them, having integrity, and taking care of them, and the money flows. We do it. We do it from the opposite. I'm gonna make that money. If somebody comes and wants to work with us, I just want to make money. I don't care about anything else. They're not gonna work for us.
Was there a certain point in your life where that you kind of flipped that switch, or was there an event that happened where you're like, okay, this is why money comes in. I'm doing this differently. What happened? Where
was your red pill moment?
The one was about the doing and being, and concentrating on that. And I'll tell you a quick story. People think that you get to a certain place by doing it by yourself. Arnold Schwarzenegger is probably worth $600 million. He couch surfed for years. Somebody, the Laker, Dr. Buss let him be in part of a real estate deal. And that's what set him up.
Arnold owned a bunch of multifamily in California.
He learned from Dr. Buss. Rest in peace, the Lakers owner. That's where, and he couch surfed. So, like I said earlier, I went to to God, my parents, and Marty, and she allowed me to quit my job 7 years ago. She went through a divorce. She quit her job. And then she said, hey, if you want to quit your job, quit your job. And a lot of people say, oh, you're going to live off that woman. But I've been wanting to get out of corporate America, and my body was starting to break down. I was vomiting before work. I didn't hate my job. I didn't hate the people I was going to work with. Something was telling me not to go back. I can't do it anymore. But I'd already started doing that work to get me to that point. And we started coming up with, okay, let's come up with a why. We're gonna work together. Let's do something we can do together, which is real estate. So we started taking real estate investment classes, learning how to do it. We took other classes. We took 401k classes, Roth IRA classes, 1031 exchange classes, all kind of classes, just doing all kind of learning. And we came up with our why, and we started doing that. So she gave me an opportunity to just not work, supported me a little bit. And my counselor said, Daniel, you're 42 years old. You supported your siblings when your mother was on drugs. you provide for your family more than above and beyond, it's okay to be supported. And I take yoga, and I haven't taken it in a couple of months, but I'm a yoga guy. And one of the principles of yoga states that an unsupported muscle will not relax. So restorative yoga is when they put the pillows behind you. I'm thinking, this is horrible, but I'm tough. And what they do is they support you so your muscles can relax. And then you get into a deeper stretch, deeper healing. So I needed that support system so I can relax, reboot, and go out and rock the world. So she told me it's okay to be supported for a second so you can relax, so you can figure it out and come up with a game plan. So I want to thank Marty for allowing me to relax so we can relaunch, so we can do wealth preservation, wealth
Creation.
Creation. Wealth creation and wealth preservation.
You know, we hear on almost every podcast, one of these guys has just a rock solid girl. That's
does seem like a common
the
theme.
backbone, pretty much. I mean, the man is the frame of the house, and the girl is the home. Ooh, that's deep. Clip that.
Yes, and if you look, of course, you read The Millionaire's Mind or The Millionaire's Next Door. The Millionaire's Mind is a great book. The Millionaire Next Door is a good book to start off from, and then you go from there. But a lot of millionaires, most millionaires, aren't divorced. Well, I've been divorced, and she's been divorced. You lose a lot through that divorce a lot of times. So, is it better to keep them? Yeah, but life happens, and so I'm happier now. But I got two amazing children, and we talked about. My son's 22, my daughter's 19, and he's got some crypto and some stock in Amazon, Microsoft, Amazon.
He's sharp.
Apple, and then I'm talking to him about getting a whole life policy now. I told him just yesterday, make sure he goes down there and get that policy. He can start working on that because I have one for them already as well, working on some others. But so he can have a 10-year plan because he wants to be a doctor. So he wants to get a car in a couple of years and say, this is the way for you to do that and keep the money, be your own bank. We can talk about that later. But anyway, he's 22, and so he's learning. He does what I tell him to do. He got a little bit of crypto, got some stocks, getting some more. And so that's the way to build wealth. That's one of the ways. You can also do it through rent, royalties, interest, and short-term gain. And that's what we're working on.
Let's talk on whole life. This is a conversation we haven't went down yet on this podcast. I've been in insurance for I've had a whole life policy for about 6, 7, 8 years now. I don't take advantage of it like I should, but I've been in the game since I think I was about 23 when I got my first whole life and term policy. Give us like a 3-minute breakdown on some dark game.
Well,
on the evil things you can do with whole life.
Yeah, the first thing is I was offered a whole life policy when I was 22. I just got married. And it was like $70 a month, and I didn't do it. I also had an opportunity. I have a cousin who played in the NFL for 17 years, and he's like, this was 20, and I still remember this. This was 22 years ago. He's like, hey, I do these. Professional athletes get to take classes by the best in investment. He says, you should put some money in Apple. And I had $5,000 then, and I didn't do it. When I do the math on that,
It's sickening.
Probably don't even want to hear the number.
So one of the things I learned from that is opportunities. When you start young, like I'd be a gazillionaire right now, but I wouldn't have a why. I wouldn't know how to handle it. I wouldn't know how to manage it, but I still missed that opportunity. Also missed the opportunity to have a whole life policy. So I've been looking for a whole life policy person in Alabama for 3 years. And most people around here do not want to touch it. Finally found someone to do it. The wealthy have tricks and things that are designed to keep their money and to make their money. And banks are not one of them. Banks are thieves. You give them $10,000 and they give you 0.01%. And then they take that money and invest it 10 times. A whole life policy, To have a whole life policy and have a company that does it, they must not have never missed a dividend payment ever. And these companies are 120 to 165 years old. Do the math on that.
Some older than most banks.
They have never missed a dividend. And banks take the money that you give them and put it in whole life policies.
This is the big argument I have against paper money versus Bitcoin or versus gold. I mean, they're all basically the same thing. It's a transfer of wealth. It's a transfer of energy. If you have $100 million and you put that in the bank is going to pay you nothing for it.
And tell you how to use it.
And then they're going to go out and lend $500 million worth of money off of your $100 million. Same thing with gold. If you put $100 million worth of gold in a bank and you came back the next month, they're going to give you a piece of paper that says, here's your certificate for your gold. They're going to hypothecate your original gold and send that to other places in the world. And they're basically going to loan everything out.
Well, also with the bank, they're going to then loan the money. They're also going to put it in those policies, and they're going to make 15 times that. But they're also going to tell you what you can and cannot do with your own money. And that's what I have a problem. They're going to take your money, they're going to hold your equity, and tell you what to do with it. And so the way to do it is to become your own bank and to use so for example, the whole life policy, the whole life policy is going to give you the advantage of your death benefit in advance. And they're also going to compound your money 14 times harder than you're going to work for. You can do it. So it allows you to go out and buy other things that are assets, not liabilities, to make more money. It's going to be flexible in what you can put in, what you can't put out within limits. And you're going to use a person who's going to guide you. Hey, should I pull money out for this? They're going to tell you yes or no. So that's what we're working on right now. We're actually in the process of getting, I have one with my children, and I'm going to get another one and some more policies as well.
Yeah, you don't hear many people touch on insurance that much. It seems like it's something they don't want the public to know. Like, why don't we learn this in school? Why don't we learn about, the
Life
principles
insurance.
of banking in school?
So they don't want everyone wealthy.
Everyone should carry a life insurance policy. That's something that was drilled into my head.
But the whole life, to make it legal, is you attach the life benefit on it. But it's really designed for you to take the money, loan it to you. So if I have $100,000 worth of cash value, I can then loan you $70,000, $80,000 of that. But my value of my life policy doesn't change. I still have the $100,000 in there, $70,000 in there. And then I'm going to loan it to you for 9%, right? And then I might take some of it and buy a property with it, or buy a business, or buy into another company, and the value of my policy doesn't change. And I'm still getting interest on it.
One of my first great mentors, who sold me an apartment complex, he was a financial advisor. When I was 23 years old, he told me he would not owner finance me this apartment complex unless I got a life insurance policy. And I was like, okay, what are you trying to sell me? He was like, no, for $40-something a month, you get $1 million policy. If you die, I get paid off because I'm the beneficiary, and then your family gets pretty much a free apartment complex for $40 a month. I was like, first off, thank you. Second off, thank you. Third, thank you. Not only are you giving me an apartment complex, but you're giving my family possibly $1 million. So overall, in total, I'm getting a $1.5 million deal just from this one little bit of game. And then about 6-7 months later, he then introduced me to whole life policies. Changed the way that I thought after that.
So
if
what
you
happened?
have kids, you should 100% have at least a term.
The whole life is cheaper. You can get as many whole life policies on your children. That's what the wealthy do. Get as many policies, and they put money in there. Put money in there, tax free. Here's the thing: when you take out a loan, the loan does not. You don't pay taxes on the loan.
Yeah. So if you own, it's like $100,000 worth of whatever stock in your whole life policy, you can borrow against it for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7%.
But you're not going to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. Same thing with real estate. If I have a $500,000 property and it appreciates another, $200,000, I can then borrow up to $130,000, $140,000 worth of equity from that, and I don't get taxed on the capital gains.
We even did an oil well. We went into that. And when I started studying the tax code, oil and land is the way to make money. And the tax code is written to protect those two groups. And who's the one that does oil and who owns all the land?
The rich.
Exactly.
So it sounds like you have done a lot of research, and I mean, both of y'all just rattled off a lot of, financial literacy type topics. Where did you learn? Just say for the viewers, where would be the best place for them to start learning about the stuff that you're speaking on? You think YouTube?
But they're all going to contradict themselves. This one's going to say this one's lying, but you have to learn it and then decipher for yourself what is your truth, and then modify it. And like I said, we just found someone to literally. I couldn't get anyone in Alabama that was willing to write whole life policies. They're like, the banks don't want us writing them, because what happens is the banks is threatening the insurance companies. If they write these policies, they're not going to take their licenses from them. They won't be able to do business with them. So you have to be careful, because that's why a lot of they just, you know what, I'm not going to do it, because the banks run the world and they don't want to scare the banks off. But the amount of money that's gone through our accounts in the last 7 years, we could have 5 times the amount of that money if we just had not just spent the money on something instead of leveraging it. So we've learned.
Okay. So where is Daniel going to be in 5 years?
We'll be traveling a lot.
Where is if you could paint a picture of where your life's going to be in 5 years with the way you're working right now, where do you think you're going to be?
So we're not working. We blur the lines between work and play.
Okay.
So we never work. Working's a mindset. Labor is what God, when Adam and Eve fell, labor is what was cursed. Work was not cursed. So laboring and toiling is a curse. Working is not a curse. But we don't work. We blur the lines. Are we working and playing? And that's what we try to do.
I can relate to that.
It almost feels guilty sometimes, but that's
yeah.
fine.
A lot of people wonder how I'm going 100 miles an hour just for like 2 years straight.
You love it.
And I'm just like, this doesn't really work to me.
No,
I'll stop the moment that I don't enjoy it. I enjoy the grind. I enjoy the process. I'd rather work 16, 18 hours a day doing what I want for myself than working a 9 to 5. I would be exhausted after working 7 hours at a 9 to 5. I would just want to come home and just collapse. When I'm working for myself, I'll go all day, because I know that every moment that I don't put in towards myself, I'm costing my future self.
When I remember one of my bosses, he was part owner of the dealership, was taking a private cruise with his wife and some friends in the Caribbean, and then he would call us from the boat, checking on us. I never want to have that feeling again. Like, look at this. My boss is checking on us from the boat. Mm-hmm. And what's funny is Marty and I now have a timeshare for private boats now.
Is that a U.S. boat? It's not a U.S. boat, or
it's
not a U.S. boat. It's
they're catamarans. They're 50 to 60
yeah.
foot catamarans. You get a chef and a captain and a mate, and they drive you around in the Caribbean. So that was one of the things I'm like, I never wanted to have that feeling again. And then it was funny, one day I jumped on some employees, we were on vacation, and Marty's like, you told me you're never going to do that again. I said, you're right. But I said I had to do it. I felt, sometimes you have to shake things up with your team and not be nice all the time too. But that's a different story, different day. But the thing that I would let you guys know is just like the whole life policies. Learning to make money work harder is the key. While you're sleeping, Warren Buffett just had something he says, if you can't make money while you're sleeping, then you will, we'll have to find that one. But it was about, you're going to end up working so hard that you're going to fall asleep. It's just, we got to figure out ways to make money all the time.
That passive income.
Passive income, like I said, through rent, royalties, interest. And compound interest is great too. That's amazing.
It's the eighth wonder of the world.
And short-term gains, buying stuff and selling it.
Which one's your favorite out of all those?
Royalties.
Royalties?
I think that's something I want to work on too. I'm going to have a clothing line at some point. I've had an idea, a concept for 20 years. So royalties, because royalties for 99 years. Like a song royalty, 99 years. You can't beat that.
I am not musically talented enough to capture the royalties.
Or if you have a product that Mattel picks up and they're going to pay you forever on, for 5 cents or whatever, royalties.
I've mastered the rent one on that list. I got to look into royalties next. Okay, so
you guys keep working on this stuff that you're working on, and you'll get royalties.
Okay, let's to wrap this up, I'm going to ask you my golden question. If you could go back to yourself at 18 years old and offer yourself one bit of advice, what would that be?
It's okay that bad things were done to you. I think about, and I know this, and I wanted this segment to be totally different than what you guys were doing, but, I got molested a lot as a kid, and sexually abused, physically abused, emotionally abused. And there's a lot of kids out there that's happened to them. You can come out of it. It's going to be okay. There's a lot of kids whose parents were drug addicts. Mine were. Abused you, weren't around. My mother would leave for 4 or 5 days at a time. And what fuels me, and I'll say this, what fuels me more than anything is one day I can help my siblings write checks for them. I promised them, one day I had to leave the house. I was 8 years old. We had no food in the house. I'm going to go get us some food. And I'd walk and I'd try to hustle. I might steal some fruit off a tree and sell it for some money. I was hustling. I've been working since I was 5 years old. I'd walk down to the car wash and wash cars at 5. But I remember telling him, I'm going to bring you some food back. I went 4 or 5 hours that day. I came back with nothing. I failed that day. I was 8 years old. I never forgot that. So I've always been a provider, protector, but all those things that have happened to you can also happen for you. I'm not saying let them happen, but reconstitute, redirect that fire. Redirect that hurt, that abuse, to make something beautiful. And that's the main thing, is the things that have happened to you don't have to end your life. My mother tried to commit suicide, my biological mother, 4 or 5 times because she believed no one loved her. She slit her wrist, took pills. She had seizures all the time because she thought no one loved her. She thought she wasn't good enough. And you know what? You are good enough. And I think on these kind of type of podcasts, we're trying to chase that carrot and know that you are good enough. And the money doesn't define you. The numbers don't define you. Who you are defines you. How you treat people define you. And that's tough. You're rich. You want to be rich, treat people well.
That's the mic drop right there. I don't even think we need to say anything after that.
You got any more questions?
I don't want to say anything after that. We need to leave it at that. You guys run that back if you need to. That should touch the people right there.
That last 5 minutes. Play that twice.
Well, so for the people who want to find you, where can they find you at?
Well, we own scuttlebuttpub.com. That's our bar. We have a Foley Coffee Shop, which is now called Foley Brunch and Supper Club. 4 doors down from there, we serve breakfast. We're working on some other ideas, working on some tacos and a lot of things. And we're working on we're here to make the place a fun place. So give us some time. Give us about 4 months. We'll have a couple of things done. I get overwhelmed sometimes, but guys, we're here to serve you. Don't think of this. We're just here to make money. We're here to serve people and love people and to make our parents proud.
Love that. We're going to put his Facebook link below if you guys want to follow him.
Yes.
Heck yeah, man. That was awesome. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Appreciate you for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Catch you guys in the next one.